to Unews for Thursday, July 25th. I'm Andrea Linares. Thanks so much for joining us. A new day in Puerto Rico. Governor Ricardo Rosselló bowing to the pressure of over a week of major protests, announcing that he is stepping down. Lorraine Cáceres has the full story.
The next in succession, because number 2 in Rosselló's government had to resign as well due to the scandal. Her confirmation will happen in the next few days unless the governor appoints someone else. Important to mention is that hashtag Wanda renuncia or Wanda resign was a trending topic shortly after Rosselló's announcements, and that's because she is accused of not investigating the mismanagement of aid after the hurricane and also giving government contracts to friends. So it'll be interesting to see if people actually allow her to take over. The governor's resignation becomes effective on August 2nd. Meanwhile, the Office of Government Ethics has initiated an investigation after a report prepared by the House concluded they found evidence on the controversial chat that Rosselló may have violated laws. Andrea, back to you.
Lorraine, thanks so much for that report. And now to Washington. Top lawmakers and President Trump are weighing in after former special counsel Robert Mueller's long-awaited testimony, where he detailed his investigation and clarified its conclusions while also facing some tough questions about his credibility. Of the 235 Democrats in the House, there are at least 93 who've joined calls to start an impeachment inquiry process. But that process would be politically risky for Democrats, because it would likely go nowhere in the Republican-controlled Senate. Some political analysts say that Democrats are now left with one option to end Trump's presidency, and that's the 2020 election. And the Department of Justice will not prosecute Attorney General Bill Barr or Commerce Secretary. The House Department of Justice announced it will resume capital punishment for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Attorney General William Barr has directed that executions for 5 death row inmates be scheduled. Pedro Rojas is at the Justice Department with the latest details on this. Pedro, for that information. And coming up next, megastar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson visited the ongoing telescope protest at Hawaii's Mauna Kea. At the center of the controversy there, a 30-meter telescope that many locals don't want built on what they consider sacred land. Johnson says the headlines generated by these protests inspired him to check out the scene for himself. Michelle Jurado has the story. And now to the latest on the Pennsylvania school district that threatened to place children in foster care if their parents didn't pay their lunch debt. The district is now backing off, saying it will accept a donation to cover those costs. Grecia Lastra has much more. Today is day 10 of protests over the Department of Justice not charging police in Eric Garner's death. Yesterday, a terrifying video of an ICE agent breaking a car window to arrest a Mexican man in Kansas City, Missouri, made headlines this week. The man's girlfriends and their 2 children were actually in the car at the time of this incident, and she recorded the entire thing. Cheyenne Hoyt joins us now from Kansas City. I am joined now by producer Nidia Cavazos to tell us what we can expect in tonight's episode. Welcome once again here on Unews, Nidia.
Thank you, Andrea, for having me here. Well, this week we're telling the story behind a group of about 100 immigrants who tried to cross the Rio Grande River to get to the United States. And now our cameras were there to capture everything from the moment they huddled to plan out how they were going to effectively evade Mexican authorities to the terrifying moment they took the plunge into the river. Let's take a look. Despite the river appearing to be calm, the crossing turned out to be a nightmare for these immigrants, Andrea.
Now, Nidia, you were actually there as all this unfolded. The cameras were there capturing these dramatic moments. Did you ever feel compelled, so strong enough as to try to help them or even stop them from doing this?
We did. Everybody on the sideline, including the reporters and some of the soldiers on the Mexican side, we tried to help. The photographer that was next to me was ready to jump in, but fortunately 2 migrants within the same group who were trying to cross were able to help this woman get across safely.
Do we know what happened afterwards?
We'll have it tonight in tonight's episode. And
investigation into the death of a University of Mississippi student. The preliminary autopsy report is now in, and newly released surveillance footage shows a 21-year-old hours before she went missing. Paola Byron has all those details. Michigan, a suspected serial killer appeared in court on Wednesday. D'Angelo Martin is suspected of a story out of Southern California. A 10-year-old boy whose life has been drastically changed after adult neighbors threw a firecracker at him on his birthday. Juan Carlos Gonzalez has the details and more on his tough road to recovery. He can achieve those dreams. And when we come back, where a rural community is mourning the death of a star student, a boy who represented the best of their hopes and dreams. Up next, we have a major breast health alert. Breast implants linked to an elevated risk of a rare cancer being recalled worldwide. The recall was announced by the FDA on Wednesday after a spike in cases of implant-related deaths, the majority tied to one implant manufacturer. Fabiola Galindo explains.
New regulation, the U.S. becomes the latest country to ban the selling of this implant. European countries, Canada and Colombia had already recalled this product. In New York, Fabiola Galindo, Unews.
Thank you, Fabiola. And now let's go to Carolina Sarasa. She's here with a preview of some of the stories we're working on for the next hour of Unews. Caro, what do you have for us today?
Thank you, Andrea. We do have a lot more coming up today in Unews. A new warning about Notre Dame. Some experts are worried about the church and how it could collapse because of a massive heat wave impacting France right now. And we also have the incredible video of a toddler taking a wild ride. The little boy ended up stuck on conveyor belts at a major airport here in the U.S. And we take you to Colombia, where two men are accused of involving their own mothers in a drug trafficking plot. The details and more coming up shortly. Back to you, Andrea.
Thanks so much, Caro. But first, I have a quick question. Welcome back to Unews. So this next story may make you want to sneak out to your closest Mexican restaurant, specifically for some yummy tacos. A popular website has named one Mexican dish as the best in the world, facing some stiff competition from favorites such as paella, risotto, and ceviche. Joanna Uzma has more on the taco that came out on top. It's a good thing I already ate, or else I'd be starving right now. So speaking of food, wine and cheese go together like peanut butter and jelly. And today is the day to celebrate just that. It's National Wine. I'm Andrea Linares, but stay tuned for the second hour. We have much more information coming up next with Carolina Sarasa. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.